What's your first and last name again?
Paul Kakis.
Paul Kakis. I want to make sure I said that right. So we're here at the podcast studio again on Talent Time, our podcast here. I'm here with Paul Kakis. This is Anthony Garibay. And so Paul Kakis, he represents a car show, motorcycle show, right? And,
right.
and it's held over here at the local Lambs Church, and we'll talk more about that, where their location and is all that. But yeah, he's doing some really awesome stuff in the community, but this car show and this motorcycle show, I remember my father-in-law going to, and I missed it for another one because we were saying on a particular day, there was like multiple car shows, and so I was fellowshipping in the Calvary down here. So tell us a little bit about that. You got it started. You're using the church to do it. Like, how does it all work?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, thanks. Well, thanks for having me here.
Sure, absolutely.
I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, so my pleasure, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
So, listen, so Lambs Fellowship Church is over there, 21901 Railroad Canyon Road. You probably pass it on the way to the freeway, on your way to the 15th, or coming up or going.
What's the address again?
21901 Railroad Canyon Road.
Do they have a website that you know of?
Well, you can use our website at www.lambscarshow.com.
Okay, there you go.
All right, and it'll give you all the information on the church and on the car show.
Perfect.
So interesting that you said that we started this car show back because we're trying to obviously reach out to the community in different ways.
Right.
To be able to have people come and check out our church.
Okay.
See what we're all about. And then give other opportunities for people to, seek us out.
Yeah.
And look for opportunities to maybe they're looking to have a new spiritual connection.
Sure.
They're new to the area. They're looking for a home church. They want to reconnect with God. Because a lot of people are off put, by going to a new church. They're not sure what to expect. So we're trying to provide a variety for people to come and enjoy our church and our campus and all those things.
Yeah. Well, I know you were saying like a few of the things people are worried about, like as if, they come to the church, like they're going to be like called out, or we're going to want your credit card number and all this, right? And this is more of like a laid back atmosphere.
Well, Lambs Fellowship is a Free Methodist church. We're very laid back people. We're all volunteers.
Nice.
I didn't have that experience. In fact, my wife started going to Lambs Fellowship. She checked it out. And I had just the opposite experience. I felt welcome, and I was free to stay as long as I wanted. No one put any pressure on me.
Yeah.
And it was really for my own education to see if maybe that was a good fit for me. I've had other experiences at other churches, and my family's Greek Orthodox, right?
Oh, wow.
And so I can tell you how more of an organized, organization is. So this is not that.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that other ways are not appropriate as well, but I'm just saying, for them, they give you an opportunity to experience what we're all about.
Works for you.
We have a great pastor. Works for me, and it may work for other people.
What's the pastor's name?
Mike Chong Perkinson.
Yeah, when I went there one of the days, it was like Easter, I think I'll tell you, we were outside, and man, he was awesome. It was a really good message.
He's been a blessing for us and for our community.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why we did this, we started, this is our 10th anniversary. We started this 10 years ago. It'll be our 9th show.
Oh, wow.
We started it 10 years ago.
Oh, man.
With the auspices that we wanted to do something to be able to bring the community together, an outreach.
Sure.
And if we're going to do it, we wanted to make it for a special purpose, and so we decided that we were going to be all about kids.
Okay.
And that we were going to generate funds from this annual event to help not only the kids in the community, but to fund other scholarship programs within Lambs Fellowship, including Vacation Bible School.
Okay.
That would give kids an opportunity that they may not have otherwise had.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it ever since. Like I said, it's an all-volunteer group. We meet every year, and if you've seen the show, it's a pretty grand event. It's not what people expect when they think about a church car show.
Yeah.
They go, it's a church car show. They got a few cars and maybe barbecue. I mean, it is an event. It's the largest car and motorcycle show in Lake Elsinore.
Oh, wow.
It stands up there with the others, Temecula Rod Run and Murrieta Rod Run. It's that caliber. And the experience for people, they walk away with a great time for families.
Sure.
And, to be honest with you, we've created a lot of discipleship for people that said, hey, guess what? I'm really interested in church. You know what I'll say to them? So I'll see you on Sunday.
Cool.
Right? And we've created quite a following that way, and we're very proud of it.
So you mentioned a couple times that you do stuff for kids and you open certain opportunities for kids. What is that exactly?
So there's a couple of opportunities. So we have 5 different charities.
Okay.
So the first one is with our association with Lambs Fellowship, because we put the car show on independently.
Okay.
But our relationship with them is twofold. One, There's a scholarship foundation that they have that we provide scholarships for children in need.
Yeah.
And so that's a monetary, scholarship program.
Okay.
And the other one is Vacation Bible School. If anybody's ever attended the Lambs Fellowship Vacation Bible School,
Yeah.
it's really something spectacular. The
Wow.
decorations and the environment and the people that put that on are just unbelievably talented.
That's so cool.
They'll turn the sanctuary into like you're stepping into the whale's mouth, like the story of Jonah and the whale from the Bible.
Yeah.
So if you're from 3 to 13 and you don't go to our church,
Yeah.
and you're in the community and you want to send your kids there
Yeah.
to have that experience, it's no charge to the community.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
We fund the entire thing through the car show.
Oh wow, okay.
And the other things go with more about education for children with disabilities, through other types of art, music, and animal therapy,
All right.
right? We do a lot of kids with autism and Down syndrome.
Nice.
We also have we also support Pepper Tree Homework House, which is a bilingual tutoring program for kids that are underachieving in school.
Okay.
So it gives them the opportunity to get tutored for free for parents that may not have the means to have their kids tutored. So
this is all local?
This is all local.
Okay.
This is all right in the community. And anybody can take advantage of it. All they have to reach out to either the Lambs Fellowship Church or directly to me, Paul
Okay.
Kakis at www.lambscarshow.com or info@lambscarshow.com. If you have a need, we'd love to help.
That's great.
And then beyond that, a lot of our work in community awareness has been done in Lake Elsinore, but I want people in Canyon Lake and the surrounding areas to know just because the church is based in Lake Elsinore doesn't mean it can't
Yeah.
be your home church, and this can't be an event that you come around.
Yeah, sure. And can people help out with it as well? Like you said, you're all voluntary.
So we look for opportunities to have people come in and whatever they're willing to do.
Okay.
It could be either part of our committee because we have a committee and a board that.
Oh, nice.
And then beyond that, they can volunteer
Okay.
if they want to do what we're doing progressively all the way up until March 13th when the event is.
All right.
Whether they can work day of the event, they can help us park cars or whatever they feel
So
comfortable
cool.
with. And we always look for sponsorships. We have
Yeah.
some great sponsors. Obviously, you saw that from
Yeah.
from industry.
Yeah.
But the way that we grow and we make the event better is through those sponsorships and people with those charitable donations.
Okay.
So we don't take any of the proceeds towards any kind of fees or anything. We it's self-funding,
Sure.
right? And part of that is this small foundation that we have. It's called Help Us Help Kids Foundation.
Okay.
So when you're helping us, you're helping kids.
That's awesome.
And
I love that.
it's
What a vision.
We're tiny, so I just want to let you guys know that we're not some big charitable organization or some huge powerhouse church, or we're not trying to. This is not world domination.
Yeah.
In the last 8 years, so we've raised $125,000
Oh wow. Okay.
for these various charities. I wish it was $1 million.
Sure.
But
yeah.
but it's incrementally more than what we started
Man,
with.
That's awesome.
And
Great.
we take a lot. We got recognized by the city of Lake Elsinore with a proclamation, and I think the uniqueness of that, if I could elaborate for a second,
Sure,
is
please.
so usually the endorsement of a church or its functions, right,
Hmm.
by a municipality is kind of a no-no,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Sure.
It's the
Right.
separation of church and state and all that. But because of our volunteerism in the city of Lake Elsinore and other places, Wildemar and Menifee, we have been recognized for those charitable good works.
Wow.
So even though we have this car show and we represent, obviously, a religious organization,
Sure.
we received the key to the city, and we thought that was very special. We thought,
That is.
we're starting to break those lines
Yeah.
down that were originally, kind of taboo, if you will.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of pulled through from maybe
Yeah.
another time, another place. But it's not about the church itself. It's about what are we doing in the community to help others.
Right.
And so I just encourage everybody to be, less selfish and more selfless. And if you're
Sure.
looking for something to do and you love cars and motorcycles and you want to come alongside,
Sounds like
of somebody,
fun.
yeah, it's great
How
fun.
many cars go there?
So last year we had over 400 cars.
What?
Yeah, we had about 200 motorcycles.
Man.
So it's, like I said, it's not what you expect at
Right.
a church
Yeah,
car
it's not
show.
what I would expect.
Now, some people got
Absolutely.
upset with us. Last year we had the hottest day on record, unfortunately, on the day that our car show was. So
Oh.
it ended kind of early. We can't predict that.
Sure.
And we've had some problems, obviously, with parking because, we're kind of in a fixed area.
Yeah.
But what we did last year, which I thought was great, is we had a shuttle service running back and forth between O'Reilly's.
Oh, I bet that was a relief.
So O'Reilly's, I'll give them a plug. O'Reilly's Auto Parts is a platinum sponsor of ours.
In what city?
And they're right here in Lake Elsinore,
Lake
right
Elsinore,
over there at
okay.
the off
Riley's
of
in
Great Street.
Elsinore.
Yeah, they're great people, and
Awesome.
the corporation's great. They have been sponsoring us for the last 5 years,
Oh, nice.
and they donate, obviously monetarily as well as in our swag bags and stuff like that.
Okay.
But we put a banner up in front of their store last year, said pick up here, drop off here, and we're
Wow.
running shuttles back and forth every half hour in the hour. We're going to do the same thing this year as well.
That's awesome. I think you mentioned to me that you also have car shows like in the town center of Lake Elsinore, or was that?
So we do. So
Okay.
part of the giving back and working within a community is helping others.
Okay.
And part of what I do with the city of Lake Elsinore, if you went last summer
Yeah.
to their Summerfest car show, so we had 3 of them.
Okay.
We had June, July, and August. I got actually met the mayor, Tim Sheridan,
Oh wow.
at an event at the Canyon Lake Car Show, and I'm also a volunteer of that show and a member of the Canyon Lake Car Club, which I have been for the last 25 years.
Nice.
Right? He said, "I think you're the guy I need to talk to."
Okay.
I said, "Why?"
All right.
And I said, he goes, "I would like to be able to bring car shows back to the city."
Okay.
And he said to me that he was working on an initiative to revitalize the historic downtown area.
I see.
And he was talking to filmmakers and others to be able to utilize this beautiful area, right, for a number of different purposes.
Yeah.
One, obviously, it brings an income into the city.
Yeah.
It helps with the city to use those funds for other projects that
Okay.
that may be directly or indirectly involved into the beautification or what have you.
Wow.
And so I said to him, if we're going to do that, I'd like to, again, with the theme, to do something to help kids and do a toy drive or what have you. And he was
So
all for
nice.
it. And so I volunteered my time to produce those shows
Wow.
last summer for them with the city Jonathan Skinner and all the others on the Parks and Recreation team. Just fantastic people.
Cool.
Great. Tim Sheridan and Steve Manos, who's also city councilman, now mayor pro tem.
Okay.
Just unbelievably kind and generous people.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it all just kind of like is working together like a hand in a glove. Like the timing is right.
Well, opportunities, you have to, seize it in the moment.
Sure.
And I think by me helping them, the way that they help us is even more than what I can do.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate that.
You seem very passionate about the show, the car show, motorcycle show. Something, that it keeps going in my head. You had mentioned the word discipleship.
Yes.
I know how it is. There's a lot of people. It's almost like we got to be secretive, like you're afraid to. But I think it's very important to bring that out. That you are out here for a specific cause, and you do have a belief, right? When were you saved? How long ago?
I was baptized actually in that church.
Okay.
10 years ago.
Okay.
Reluctantly.
Right.
So. And you know what? It's really meant a lot to me, and it's made a. Listen, I'm not a preacher, okay?
Right.
In my own beliefs, I keep it right in here, but it's been transformational.
Yeah.
Let me just say that it's transformational for me.
That's
it may
the
be
word.
transformational for others.
I feel like that's usually how you know when somebody's they're on the right road, is like if there's transformation, right? Because who can transform the heart of men,
So just for me and my own transformation, it kind of goes back to, my upbringing. It was kind of a tough road.
Okay.
And I had an exam. I spoke in a men's ministry, which was unusual. Way anybody would want to hear my story because I didn't know what I had to offer to these people. But
Yeah.
for me, it was a tough road growing up, and I won't get into it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you're brought up in a certain environment, let's call it a negative environment.
Okay.
There's a certain die that's cast for a young person
Sure.
because the way that environment is created and how it is projected onto you
Yeah.
is something that you think is the way things are.
Mm.
And so you carry that forward,
Sure.
right? Because you don't know any better.
Sure. Sure.
And the older you get, the worse it gets because you're carrying this negativity forward that probably shouldn't be there because you don't know any better.
Right. Right.
And that die gets cast, and it's really hard to break out of that.
Right.
And so for me, it was a way for me to recognize what was happening in my life and not being this selfish person because of what I thought was the way that people should be treated. I wanted to change the way that I looked at the world and how I could be a better person,
Sure.
and to come to God to look for those things that I wanted to find in myself. And I found I was just waiting there the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just waiting, for
Yeah.
me to recognize the things that I should be doing differently. And through this, and everybody, expresses themselves different ways.
Sure.
This is just the way that I express myself, how I could give back to the community.
Yeah.
And create the discipleship to others that may be like myself, reluctant to take that step, to think, this is not for me, this is for weak people, they need a crutch, I don't need that, blah, 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 blah. And I hear it all the time. But it's really what you get out of it. So all I can say to your listeners is that you have to experience it for yourself.
Yeah.
There's not anything I could say to you or do otherwise that would make any difference, right? It has to be a personal experience to see if it's the right fit for you.
Sure.
If you come to our church because you think that we got a great car and motorcycle show, hey, one for me.
Right.
That's a plus up. And if I could digress for just a second, if you don't mind. So we had a letter that was written to the church pastor about a man who I'll have to say was suicidal.
Okay.
And I was very early in my walk with Christ, okay, if I can say that.
Sure.
And didn't know that whether I was equipped to speak to this person properly about all the things that were weighing on him. So, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
I just spoke from the heart.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Trust me, I understand. I feel it. Yeah.
The good news from all of that was we avoided something that he thought was inevitable.
Yeah.
I spent hours with him on the phone. I went and met with him and invited him to come to the church, and then proceeded to put him with other people that were way more equipped to obviously get him on the path that he needed to get on to give him the support. But God put on my heart for me to know, to recognize, and to be there in that moment.
Sure.
To help this person. Then later on, he wrote a letter to the church. He said, I met this guy Paul. I didn't know him. I called him up out of the blue, talked me off the ledge. I was in a dark place. I'm not in a dark place anymore. So if you can get that kind of experience, and I'm not saying everybody is, but there are those moments, but you have to recognize them. You have to be aware.
Yeah.
And I think that awareness is created through the motivation to listen to when God speaks to you.
Yeah, you're inspired by God's voice, and he puts you on the right path. And again, going back to, being on the right path, I feel like the people that I know that have been transformed, like they had this background or came from this background, whatever it is, that hardened heart was turned to flesh, right? That heart of stone, and speaking of discipleship, I keep going back to that because I feel like that is, in a sense, what you're saying you're doing. This is your discipleship, to go out and do these shows and speak to the people, and that's how you're serving, right? That's like discipleship. And I think it's important, I mean, you don't, people of the Lord, who, or this is a Christian church, once you have the Lord, he just influences you, or, inspires you to, want to serve. You don't have to, you're already done, right? It's done, you're saved, you have the right way, but it's evident, when you meet his people, that they're like inspired to do these. You don't have like feel this need to have to do it to be saved, because it's done, right? You're saved, but it just inspires you to go out and want to disciple, right? And want to,
I totally agree with that.
It's so awesome. It's good to see. It's real time. It really is.
Well, part of that is, they had this saying, and I wasn't really familiar with it, for not being a churchgoer. Obviously, I was catching up.
Yeah.
But this one thing that sticks with me, they say iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah.
Which is true, because if you surround yourself with people that are yoked in the same way, because they have the same type of objective, right?
Sure.
Now we're all flawed characters, because we are. We're not perfect, and we weren't meant to be. Right?
Sure.
But regardless, by associating with these people that want to do good and they want to participate in whatever that of the doing is important in the doing.
Absolutely.
I say, and I said, it doesn't matter how you come to the Lord, obviously. Just as long as you come.
Yeah.
You can be reluctant, to come.
Yeah.
You could bring something else to the table. If none of that matters. Just like with this car show, right? This is just a vehicle, no pun intended.
Right.
Right, to bring people to say, hey, listen, maybe that's something I want to be a part of.
Yeah.
See, for me, I'm a car collector and an amateur mechanic.
Okay.
And all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So I really get the best of both worlds.
Right.
So I get to do that, and I get to serve the Lord at the same time.
That's great.
Which is very fulfilling for me.
Yeah.
And part of that this morphed in, because I remember you asked me before we were on air, is this a ministry for you?
Right.
I said, well, I don't think so.
Sure.
I said, but other people have said it is.
Yeah.
because I didn't think that I would be speaking in front of people to talk about my own personal relationship with the Lord and how I got there.
Yeah, I mean, you're like you're telling me you're not a pastor or whatever, but I'm like, no, you like you're you don't need to be like this is an awesome ministry. It really is. I appreciate it. You're saying?
Well, I'm just saying that this has grown. So part of what people get stuck because they don't know where to begin.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When I was asked to do this by the former pastor, I didn't know anything about putting on a car show.
Yeah.
I'm not even in the industry. Just because I had a hot rod and built one didn't mean that I knew how to work with the city or the municipality or the church or put anything together and get all these volunteers. I wasn't equipped to do that. Okay. And actually, when they asked me to do it at first, I said no.
Yeah.
And the more I said no, the more it pulled me back in.
Yeah.
I couldn't get away from it. I heard, God's voice in my head saying, "You need to do this, right? You can figure it out." And if I can figure it out, trust and believe, anybody can figure it out. Listen, don't let people tell you that you can't do something, whatever that is.
All things are possible, right?
They are. Listen, it just depends on how bad you want it.
Yeah.
You have to be persistent,
Sure.
right? You have to get your message together.
Yeah.
And ask a lot of questions. There are people out there, tremendous people that would love to help you. If I could ever say to anybody that wanted to start anything, whether it's a business or wanting to go back to school or ministry or whatever that is, you know what? You have to be your own champion.
Yeah.
And then people will come alongside you to help you.
Yeah, it's like you've mentioned that twice. Like, so you didn't think you were equipped to do this show. You didn't think you were equipped to change that man's life, but you didn't need to be, right? Because, the Lord is just working through you.
Well, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And it's not like you don't make mistakes along the way. You're like, oh, that didn't work, or maybe I should have tried something new. Trust and believe we had a lot of starts and stops, and even when you're developing a show, you're trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. From year to year to year. It took us a while to get our template together. To put on an event that looks seamless to the public, because they're coming to an event to see cars and motorcycles. We have live entertainment. It's like a petting zoo. Our car show is bizarre because it's all about kids. We have a petting zoo.
Oh, cool.
Jolly jumps. We had to dunk the pastor with the water tank one time, and all this other stuff that would be conducive to bring families to the event.
Right.
Because not everybody likes cars.
Sure.
And I'd say, we need more. This is not sexist. We need to have more booths for women.
Yeah.
Vendors for women to bring in other things that they may be interested in. I'm not saying that women don't enjoy cars or car-related items that are for sale. But let's have a variety. Let's make it good for the whole family. Let's have things for kids, women, things for men, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you'll find that our show is a lot different than most shows you probably go to.
That's great.
That's
awesome. Well, I'm going to show you. I know people on the podcast can't see this shirt, but this is how do you say it? Lambs Fellowship.
Car and Bike Show.
Car and Bike Show. It's small on the back, and it's a really awesome shirt. He brought it for me as a gift. I appreciate that. I think it's awesome, what I would call ministry as part of your discipleship and your faith and being faithful, and feeling like you're not equipped yet going out anyways, walking in that faith. I mean, that's inspirational to me. That's got to be inspirational to other believers and non-believers alone. Just all things are possible. And if you truly believe in your heart, all things are possible, and I truly believe that. That's what I get out of this, and it's awesome, So, Lamb's Church, but you tell us the information one more time so people can find you and the events you have.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So, Lamb's Fellowship Church, 21901
Okay.
Railroad Canyon Road, Lake Elsinore. Like I said, you're going to pass it if you're going to the freeway, coming or going to Canyon Lake. Our show starts May 13th. 2023. So, so we got a few months ahead of us, but it's very competitive, so we got to get the word out.
Get your cars ready.
Get your cars, get your motorcycles coming out, or just bring out your family.
Yeah.
It's $35 to register vehicles, $75 if you want to be a vendor. So very affordable. Check-in is at 7 a.m.
All right.
Show starts at 9. Goes until 2:30. And we have everything. We have raffle prizes, and we raffled off the cars. Believe it or not, the last couple of years we raffled off a car. I've been trying to raffle off a motorcycle this year. And what we do is we find a car, it's beat up, and we basically blog it as we take it to merchants in the city, right? Canyon Lake and others, where they'll repair it for us to get it ready for, obviously, for the auction. Right?
Sure.
So, so what else can I tell you? So, May 13th, 2023, gates open at 7, show starts at 9 a.m. Goes until 2:30, and yes, raffles, prizes, awards. Hopefully, we'll get the petting zoo again back this year. Free
Nice.
transportation to and from O'Reilly's in Lake Elsinore on
All
Grape
right.
Street. And every dollar that you spend there, when you buy a hot dog or you buy a T-shirt or a hat or
Yeah.
whatever, that all goes to these kids' charities. And you can find everything about us, full disclosure about what we've raised, where the money goes to, all of our charities at www.lambscarshow.com.
That's awesome. So I'm going to ask you one more question. We'll put you on the spot a little bit.
Sure.
What is your favorite Bible verse or book of the Bible? I know sometimes it may be a whole book or a verse. What gives you, what kind of moves you in those days when you need that extra faith?
Well, for me, I like to think about where the passage of the Bible where John is asking for God to send me, right?
Right.
He says, why not me? Send me.
Send me, I'll go, I like
And
that.
so I always think about that because I want to be able to be present,
Yeah.
in my life and be able to put myself out there to help others.
That's obvious.
So I just think that you can glean what you want from the Bible, but
Right.
it's more important to take that and transcribe that into the doing.
Sure.
So whatever you take away from the churches or synagogues or
Sure,
mosques
sure.
that you go to, and you can bring that forward into everyday life and apply that to what you're doing.
Okay.
So you can have compassion for others, that you can
Right
be
on.
selfless and not selfish, and all those things. And at that point, it's not really about a particular religion. It's about doing the right thing, and those teachings that you spend the time into your different mosques and synagogues
Sure.
and churches. And
So you don't have a favorite verse? Something that moves you?
I'm stuck right now.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm going to put you on the spot. It's hard sometimes, I was saying, I have a lot of favorite verses, a lot of favorite chapters in the Word. But one of them that's really been sticking out to me, and I even said in a prayer the other day with my wife, all things are possible through Christ who strengthens me. And I just, we go through a lot in life. We go through a lot of challenges, a lot of loss, a lot of hard times. But then we also go through good times where things get really, really good. But then we might get out of hand with a few things, and then it's hard to slow down. So it's like wherever you're at in life, that that's always been a helpful verse to me. Some people just have it written on their hearts. You're just out there serving. Anything is good. Anything is good when you're out there with your gifts. And this is definitely a gift and a God-given talent. This is Talent Time Podcast Studios. Thank you all for tuning in, and thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much.